Now here's a video that should not even become, or not even be, shocking, absurd. Oh my God, I never knew that. Oh, it's absurd. For sure it's absurd. But what it shows is what I've discussed numerous times already. Electronic voting machines are rigged. Well, I am not some kind of phenomenal programmer, developer, etc. I do develop some software. I know the process. I know how easy, I'm talking easy, it would be to rig a vote machine. They've already showed you numerous times. There were several colleges that did it, universities. We had the guy from Florida come out and say under testimony in Florida, I was hired to create a program that would essentially flip the votes however you want them to be, like 7-5 or whatever. And I was hired to do this by this Republican senator or whatever from Florida. And I was under the impression that we were hired to show them how it would work, to help stop or catch someone else from doing it, and to see how it would work so they would understand how to catch someone else doing it, some other company, if they were to do that. And then he found out, no, we want to keep this and make it go live because we can then win all elections. No one will ever be able to oppose the club. So is it any shocker? Election fraud story gets worse. Irregularities tied to e-voting machine companies that donated to the Clinton Fund. From the same people who released the study showing the extraordinarily high probability that Hillary Clinton exceeded exit poll results in states that had no paper trail to use to audit the vote, we now get some even more interesting developments. It seems that Hillary, and by the way, this is almost a month old, this particular story, but it's extremely relevant, and that's why I'm going to read it to you. It seems that Hillary did especially well in states where the owners of 2 of the 3 companies that make and support e-voting machines also donated to the Clinton Fund. Interestingly, much information has recently come to light about the Clinton candidacy, which, by the way, Julian Assange, WikiLeaks, is alleging that he is about to release, or WikiLeaks is about to release in about a week or two, information, he says, quote unquote, that will put Hillary in jail. Now, first and foremost, that ain't going to happen no matter what. And I mean even the most damaging, despicable thing you might think of. She's absolutely tied to murder, got it on tape, videos, anything. There's not a chance in hell she'll get any trouble. Did you not just recently hear the FBI, we're done with our investigation, 122 classified emails, 4 different devices, not one. I mean, each of these is an individual crime, 122 times. Then we have the Benghazi thing. Lied to the mother of the, Christopher Stevens. Lied to everybody. Oh, it was this video. This video did it. This anti-Muslim video. When the emails show, she knew within hours of the same day, within hours, it was a terrorist attack against them. So last time I checked, the guy who got nabbed for the bad video, the hate video, is still in jail. Shouldn't he be released? I mean, since the whole thing was a lie. But anyways, interestingly, much information has recently come to light about the Hillary Clinton candidacy, notably the hacker, which is now going by the name Guccifer 2.0, not to be confused with the original Guccifer, released documents which he took from the computer network of the Democratic National Committee. Among these files, one tabulated a list of big money donors to the Clinton Foundation. One fact has gone unreported in the media, and that is 2 of the 3 companies that control the electronic voting market, namely Dominion Voting and HIG Capital, i.e. Hart InterCivic, are in this list of big money donors. To examine the possibility that the products linked to these companies had been used to commit electoral fraud, we borrowed the methodology of a paper by Francis Choquette and James Johnson. Their paper is based on one of the basic principles in the biological and social sciences. As the amount of data increases, the measurement of the average approaches the true average. In other words, as more data is added, the average fluctuates less and less. You see, these same voting irregularities had been shown to occur in the 2008 and 2012 elections in favor of McCain and Romney, respectively, by the researchers, these two guys, Choquette and Johnson. In 2008 and 2012, McCain and Romney were financially interconnected with two of the major electronic voting companies. Both the companies who donated to the Clinton Foundation share a history of past election controversies and conviction for white-collar crimes. Let me open that link up. This is from, 2003. Oh yeah, the black box voting site. I remember that. Long article. Not going to read it. No point. No point. Why do I even need to write? You already know. You already know because I'm already telling you what this video is about. What this article is about. Voting fraud. Machines can be easily programmed. They don't have to hack them. They don't have to hack the machine. Kind of like the banks, the old saying, if you want to rob a bank, own the bank. Like JP Morgan and friends. And then you look around and say, oh my God, that's a stupid saying. But oh my God, it's real. Except the banks themselves aren't being robbed. You're being robbed. The people are being robbed. Far worse than any bank robber in the history of the world could do. And I want to remind you, before I finish reading this, because I talked about this a while back in one of my videos. I've read an article, and they said, these voting machines, because when we had these elections, it may have been the very last election, so 2012, again, Obama won, again. And they said, there's interesting voter turnout in the state of Florida. Several of these voting precincts, 125% voter turnout, 100% voter turnout, 140% voter turnout. How can you have more than 100% voter turnout? There's only so many people that go to this precinct. You're in this area, yes, that's where you go. You can't have 140%. So where the hell did those extra votes come from? It could have been it's illegals. The illegals are... No. I figured out what it was. It's very easy. The article said the particular voting machines used have a Microsoft Access database program, basically a back-end database. And I mentioned then I'm extremely familiar and highly knowledgeable with Microsoft Access. That was the first thing I learned to program on. And this voting machine software stores all of the votes in the Microsoft database on each and every one of these machines. They're not networked together or anything. It's each and every one of these machines. And these machines also have Wi-Fi enabled on them. And it's not like your phone that has Wi-Fi enabled. It's treated as an access point or a wireless router, if you will. Your phone connects to the wireless access point or connects to the wireless router, which is actually a built-in access point into it. So these machines essentially are access points, and you can actually connect to them wirelessly. And they said they left the default passwords enabled on all of these machines, all the software on these machines. In other words, to connect wirelessly, passwords such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, A, B, C, D, E, F, things like that. Those are the passwords. So if you happen to tell one of your club members, listen, the default passwords are on these things. All you have to do, you could do it from your car with an external antenna, because you can buy these Wi-Fi cards that plug into your laptop, even through USB. And they have a little teeny tiny antenna port. You can pop it off, plug an antenna on there, put it on the roof of your car. No one will know any different. It might be just a ham radio operator, or maybe he's got a CB. Wouldn't even matter. And you could stand sit in the car a pretty sizable distance away and hack the living hell out of every voting machine in that precinct. All you need to do is have a bunch of your buddies. Again, we're talking big companies here, big donors of Hillary. They got plenty of people who could do this. And say, guys, go out to all these areas right here. Here's the password to get in, and just open up the Microsoft database and start adding rows. Copy and paste rows where Hillary was chosen, or in this case, Barack Obama was chosen. Copy and paste each row. If they were even kind of smart, and I think they are, you could give each person a laptop or email them, hey, here's the front end Microsoft Access part of that database. Here's a query. I want you to run on it. You could also simply just copy and paste the query, the SQL of the query, into the voting machine database's query, because you can open that up, create a new query, copy and paste, run it, and it will immediately add however many number of records you need to add. And it'll already be pre-programmed, because again, they already know what the tables are, they know what the names, they know everything. All they're going to do is give it to the people. Here you go hack it. Now, if you really wanted to get even more crazy, and you had access to, say, a helicopter, and I think the club easily has access to that, you could fly over a city and hover for just a little while and have a directional antenna facing all of the precincts that you know where they are, and just one by one, okay, done with there, yep, next one, run those queries, okay, done, next one. I mean, you might be up there for an hour, whatever it is, hitting them all. Or again, you could just, send people off in their cars. Guys, hit this one, then hit that one, then hit that one. The polling stations are going to be open for, all day long today. So you could literally have a small team, 2 or 3 cars. It doesn't matter if one person's voted on the machine or 5,000 have voted on the machine. By the time you get there, it doesn't matter, because all you're doing is adding rows and rows and rows of records. So one little old lady could be the first in line, then you pull up in the car down the street. We're connected. Go ahead and run the query. Boop, now there's 25,000 new records created. Nobody knows any better. The voting machine, the people looking at it, pressing buttons, doesn't say anything. It just happens on the back end. And then at the end of the day, okay, time to count the votes. Here's what we got, guys. Automatically sends. That was what happened in Florida. Do you suppose these other machines are also wide open? Let me continue on. So, Rodolfo Cortez Barragan, Stanford, and Alex Gizgil, Tilburg University, used the same methodology Choquette and Johnson did to examine the primary results in 2016. Here's what they found just in Louisiana. When we looked at the results of the Republican primaries, we did not observe that any candidate kept gaining a larger and larger share of the vote at larger precincts, meaning the lines were relatively stable as precinct size increased. However, when we looked at the Democratic primaries, we observed severe abnormalities. Namely, the share of votes that Hillary Clinton received kept increasing, leading to a whopping 25%. This type of statistical abnormality is seen in almost every parish or county. It does not appear in any parish for the Republican primary. So this is just a phenomenon related to Hillary Clinton voters, Democrats. In other words, statistically speaking, Republican, nothing to see here. Democratic votes, oh my God, massive irregularities. Doesn't matter what side you vote for. Well, that's fine with me. I don't care because I want Hillary to win. So I'm not. Well, hold on. You're fine with cheating people in a country. And let me ask you a question since you're fine with it. Oh, well, it's my candidate. If it was Trump, I'd be pissed off. But since it's not, what happens if next time the guy or girl they want next is a Republican? and you can't stand them, then what? Are you going to get up and cry and shout and, hey, I knew this was rigged because they rigged it when what? When my candidate won. Oh, so now the other one's going to win. The bottom line is nobody's winning. As long as the club keeps getting their person in there, nobody wins. I don't care if it's green, blue, red, whatever your favorite color is, it doesn't matter. It's meaningless. Funny how no funny business ever occurred this year in the Republican primaries, only the Democratic ones. But I digress. In their new study, Berrigan and Geisel didn't look at the exit polling, which was immediately attacked by many Clinton supporters, attacked the use of exit polls. In other words, Clinton supporters are attacking the use of exit polls. Why is that? Because you know it's rigged and it's going to show you that it's rigged, or what? Often with little or no knowledge of statistics as valid, such as Ari Berman in an attack piece he wrote for The Nation. This time, Berrigan and Geisel looked at pre-election polls of likely voters to see what effect the election results varied from these polls in states with and without a paper trail on a county-by-county basis. And here's what they had to say. We uncovered new information that suggests to a concerted effort to swing the election in favor of Hillary Clinton. Specifically, we moved beyond comparing the official results to the controversial exit polls. Instead, we examine a relatively neglected set of numbers, the expected result based on pre-election polls of likely voters. 337 such polls are listed on the database provided by Real Clear Politics, representing 139,231 voters across 34 primary states. We found that while the polls were quite successful at predicting Clinton's numbers in states with paper trails, just a statistically inconsequential 1% difference, by the way, Clinton overperformed by an average of 9% in the states that happen to use electronic voting machines and fail to provide paper evidence of the vote. And again, not that paper evidence matters. Like the guy in Florida that showed, it'll print out the paper, the receipt, the person you picked. You're picking for Clinton? Nope, print it out. Yep, my vote counted. I'm out here. When it's time to tally up at the end of the day, the programming, the software says this is already predetermined. We're flipping the votes however we need to. She's going to win 51-49 or whatever it's set to percent. So I wanted to share this with you and let you know, as The Rock used to say, it doesn't matter. But Rock, don't you want to know how the voting machine works? It doesn't matter. However, when it's voting season, and I say this with a huge, just in case, I will still be voting for Mr. Trump. Take care.